All right, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage founder and chairman of MNC Group, Mr. Hari Tanusudipio, and Mr. Rob Gilby.
Together with its 37,000 employees, MNC Group operates in media, financial services, and property. As Southeast Asia's largest media, its 4 national TV stations, RCTI, MNC TV, GTV, and iNews, capture the largest audience share in Indonesia, complemented by Koran Sindo Daily and a national network of radio stations. In paid TV, MNC Media owns MNC Vision, capturing 60% of the market share, strengthened by a high-speed internet and IPTV service, MNC Play. In telecommunications, MNC Media through Infocom provides ICT-based services using satellite and terrestrial infrastructure for private industry clients as well as Indonesian government agencies. In online media, various business units have been developed, including leading news portal OKZone, mobile video service MNC Now, video sharing platform MeTube, online travel service Mr. Aladdin, and home shopping MNC Shop. In financial services, MNC Group provides integrated services including life and general insurance, securities, investment manager especially mutual funds, banking, leasing, and consumer financing especially for housing and automobiles. In property, MNC Land develops Lido Resort in Bogor and Sukabumi, comprising of a theme park, hotel, 5-star villas, and an international golf course. MNC Land owns Bali Nirwana Resort in Tanah Lot, Bali, now being revamped together with Trump Hotel and Resort, which also run parts of the Lido facility. MNC Land also owns office buildings, apartments, and hotels such as Park Hyatt Hotel in Jakarta, Oakwood Residence in Surabaya, Western Resort in Nusa Dua, Bali, and the upcoming MNC Smart City in Tangerang. MNC Group manages its CSR through Jalinan Kasih Foundation, providing assistances in education, staple goods, medication, public facility, and disaster relief. MNC Group, creating jobs, fostering growth prosperity for Indonesia.
Thank you, Rob. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to you all. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Hari Tanusudipio, a pure entrepreneur and founder of MNC Group. I started my business 28 years ago when I finished my MBA degree. I was a very active investor during the Asian crisis in 1998 to the year of 2000. I witnessed the collapse of the new economy, what we call at the time the internet bubble, that made Nasdaq index down by 50% in 2001. Many of my friends lost a lot of money at the time. That's the reason why I did not believe in the internet business in the past. I started the media business in 2001 when I acquired RCTI, the largest FTA television in Indonesia. What I believe that media has 2 business models, advertising-based and subscriber-based. Then I decided to grow the FTA television, DTH pay TV, and content since 2001. Within 6 years, which is in 2007, I successfully developed 3 FTA television, which is RCTI, MNC TV, GTV, which control over 40% of the national audience share, the largest content library, and the largest DTH pay TV. I listed the FTA television company in 2007 and raised $520 million with a market capitalization of $2 billion, which is at the time the largest IPO. Since then, I did a lot of acquisition until 2 years ago, but not really focusing on the digital or internet space. But what happened, I witnessed many of my friends working in the internet business has grown very fast and became very big. For example, like Ponima is actually a good friend of mine, the founder of Tencent. 10 years ago, his company size was about the same as mine. But now, it's more than 100 times of my group. Tonima, with this Baidu, is also the same. There is a joke. If you have a kid, give a name Ma, like Jack Ma, you know. Everybody with Ma name has been very successful. I used to have a JV with Tencent on WeChat in Indonesia, but I gave up a few years ago. You know, the world has moved to digital. The old belief is that you need time to build a success, but it's not the case today. The 7 largest companies in the world are all digital related. One is Apple, number 2 is Google, number 3 is Microsoft, number 4 Amazon.com, number 5 is Facebook, number 6 is Alibaba, number 7 is Tencent. And their market cap is much higher, even higher than the Singapore economy or GDP. The number 7 largest company in the world, which is Tencent, is 50% higher than Singapore GDP, which is $300 billion against $450 billion. Since 2 years ago, I restructured my media business into 3 parts. One is the FTA and content. We have now 4 national free-to-air television, and we produce more than 20,000 hours of video content today, because we have also 20 pay TV channels. We produce from long form to short form video format with all kinds of genre, drama, animation, reality, variety, sitcom, infotainment, news, and features. Our library today reaches more than 300,000 hours, which is growing and keep growing. The second business is the DTH pay TV, IPTV, OTT, and the fixed broadband. The third, which I believe now, is the digital application. From e-commerce, portal, social media, UGC or user-generated content, online games, and many others. To support this, I developed Innovation Center to make sure that we run with high speed. Am I too late entering the digital space? The answer is no. Of course not. For the case of Indonesia in particular, it's actually the right time because the market just started to grow. The majority of Indonesian people are still traditional and in the middle to low segment. I'm also a politician. I'm the chairman of a political party also today. There's a message for politicians that digital apps need to be regulated as well because it reduces jobs, make things very efficient. And that is very important also for the Indonesian situation because we are growing in the population very fast. We are adding more than 5 million every 3 years because 70% of the population is below 40 years old. So we have a lot of productive age group. And I always believe it's never too late to be successful. This is, I think, a good message for all of us. It's also a message for me. What is important is we do the right thing at the right time. We have to know the market behavior too. This millennial population has changed the world. I remember when I had lunch in the year 2000, so it's about 17 years ago, with the richest tycoon in Indonesia at the time. He told me that he began his business and became successful in his 50s. So it's nothing is too late. So guys, let's move on and make sure we do the right thing at the right times. Thank you.
So, Pak Harry, never too late for digital. Take that one away. Thank you for agreeing to have discuss a few questions here. I thought it might be useful to, as well as your stated insights, to really just dig in with a couple of areas. Indonesia, fourth largest nation, most important, largest economy in Southeast Asia. It's a market that is full of potential for media. What do you think they're doing that makes it so attractive? Is there a government approach to supporting the digital economy? And how are you seeing this huge potential translating into growth for your business, for your MNC business, in terms of audiences, advertising, etc.?
Okay, thank you. We are very big in terms of the population. Yeah, we have 260 million people, and it's growing by 5 million every 3 years. So basically, in the next 20, 25 years, we may be bigger than the United States in terms of the number of population. And what need to know also that our population is young, very, very young. So the consumption pattern is more aggressive compared to the basically aging country. And the penetration in every industry, including media, is still very low. Even the TV penetration is still about 70%, but the audience share, penetration is maybe 90% because they watch TV together, some neighborhood, in the small villages. And within the next 13 years, in 2030, we are targeting our economy will reach $3 trillion. So it's a very big size. Singapore is only $300 billion US. So basically about 10 times of Singapore today. So that's why the market potential is very big. But I believe all kind of media may grow, including the traditional media, because we still have a lot of basically middle to low income group people. Indonesia, basically, we have 514 cities and regencies in 34 provinces. Maybe 20-30% of the bigger cities would be good for the digital media, and the rest, I think, they still consider the traditional media. That's why our strategy, after I try to study what is today and the future, we try to be in everything. So we are in the traditional media like FTA television and the traditional content, but we also we are in the pay TV business from the traditional DTH pay TV, which is good for smaller places, and we are in the broadband IPTV and also OTT, which is good in big cities, and we are also in the digital application. Yeah, so we don't want to speculate. Actually, I don't want to speculate. So we try to be in everything. Maybe it's different from Singapore. I believe Singapore will be faster in the digital. The traditional media will be left, because it's smaller and the society is much more established.
It's just staying on digital for a moment. On the last panel, we had a number of the streaming services. We've seen Netflix come into Indonesia. We've seen local streaming services like iFlix and Hook and View enter the market. What is your view on these kind of services? Are they a threat, or is this an opportunity also for you to be accelerating in that space? And what is your response to offering streaming, especially to the young Indonesians?
It's a compliment, I think. So it's not a threat. I think it depends how we look at it. Like in our group, we have the traditional PTV, we have also OTT. So what I'm trying to offer is to give free access to my existing DTH PTV subscriber to the OTT platform within our group. So it's just it complement each other.
So you see growth in that area for you?
Yes. All will grow concurrently. The OTT will grow, and in big cities. The problem in Indonesia, because the fixed broadband rollout is still limited. So what happened is we have to rely on the mobile broadband, which is expensive if we have to use OTT all the time, watching basically movie. Yeah. So we need maybe, but it doesn't mean that we have to wait. We have to start earlier. I believe within the next 5 years, the market would be ready for this OTT because the fixed broadband rollout will be more massive in Indonesia.
And sort of staying a little bit on the digital theme, so as the largest media group, largest broadcaster, you actually have the largest share of advertising of the market of any single platform. And with that, you've built great relationships with advertisers and agencies. What are they looking at in the next 12, 24 months in terms of their priorities? And are you seeing any sort of threats growing from the emerging online ad-supported platforms like a Facebook and a Google?
They like to see that we can offer them an integrated kind of services. That's why in our group we have almost everything, and we try to expand beyond the traditional TV commercial. So we offer also virtual ad. So virtual ad, like we use a software that we can put the object on the body of the program. We can charge higher because the rating is normally higher. We also do digital mobile ad, that we connect with the TV program. And on the digital part, like Google, Facebook, yes, I agree. Basically, the share in advertising has been increasing, in particular for Google, because Google is consumed by all ages. Facebook is more younger people. Normally, advertisers like to penetrate to all ages because it's good for all kind of products.
So obviously one of your advantages is you've been producing for a really long time. You have the largest content library. You continue to produce a lot of shows right now. I know you just built some new facilities as well. What are you seeing in terms of some of the content trends that are working across your networks? Any key shows or any key kind of content trends that you should be calling out? And also, what are you doing to make sure you have a pipeline of great programming coming up to sustain your success?
This is very interesting. So basically, for FTA in Indonesia, content which is family driven is still basically good for audience share, good also for the commercial, for advertising. Content which is popular among the young people is declining in terms of the audience share, like Hollywood movie, because they like to watch this on the OTT. So we have to make sure we understand the market behavior. This is very important.
And you've continued to build out capabilities. Anything in particular? I know you've got your studios that you've built for some of the shows. You're getting into animation. Anything there that in particular you're excited about?
Of course, our production decision is related to how we can generate the revenue. This is very important. So anything which is revenue generated and can drive the revenue higher, we try to push the production, which is family driven. So it's drama and reality show, including talent search. Actually, our group is the only company that produce a big show in terms of talent search, like Idol, X Factor, Rising Star, The Voice, and other program which is family driven and basically popular among the young mother is infotainment. It's cheap, but actually generate high revenue as well.
Some of those talent formats are still working for you at the moment?
Of course, yes. It's doing very well. It can have like very high EBITDA margin, up to 70%. Very, very high.
So
maybe one thing I want to add, and recently there is a trend that the local people, the Indonesian people, they prefer the local content. This is also very interesting. So we have increased our local content recently. Now it's about 80% of all the content that we broadcast is local.
Seems to be an emerging trend across the region that the importance of local content seems to be driving a lot of take-up. Now, we're heading towards mid-2019, an election in the country. We've seen in almost every country we go to that as you head into elections, there's advertising. Sometimes that's a boot. That's a positive upside. We see more spend on advertising. But we also see more focus on news versus entertainment. As 2018 kind of kicks off the preparation for that 2019 election, what impact do you see that having across your services, both positive for advertising or focused on news? And obviously you chair a political party, you've expressed interest in participating in government. What's your current thinking in terms of both the MNC Group's impact as you head towards election and your own plans in that area?
We have a news TV. So basically, it's basically nearing the election. I think that would be good for the television that focus on the news, and we have iNews basically. And normally nearing the election, the advertising increases because the government tend to spend more to stimulate the economic activity. This is very important. And for the Indonesian case, actually the government plan to allocate about 800 million rupiah. So that translates to about 60 something thousand US dollar per year to each village. And we have in Indonesia 74,000 villages. So this move is intended to stimulate the economic activity. Then I hope the economic growth will be higher in 2018, 2019, which is good for the media business, for advertising also.
And your plans?
My plan, I let it flow. Yeah, I'm in politics. I let it flow. My political party is growing and very popular among the young people. And 48% of the voters in 2019 will be millennial, which is interesting. So the way we campaign would be different.
So we have a little bit of time left. I think you've heard, Pak Harry talk about how the group straddles both the traditional and is, more recognition of some of the growth of the digital area. And also this is a very interesting time for Indonesia in terms of both its size and role in the region, but also as it continues to expand. I don't know, you okay to take a couple of questions?
Yes, please. Just want to add, basically Indonesia offer a very big potential. I believe by 2030, we will be the fourth largest in terms of the economy, not the population, the economy. Number one is China. Number two will be, if not Japan or India. Number three, India or Japan. Number four will be Indonesia, for sure. Because we will reach at least $3 trillion in terms of the GDP. That is very sizable.
Hello.
Yeah, Pak Hari, Anil Banwari from India. You're very Indonesian-centric. Are you looking at spreading yourself or are you too busy in Indonesia? One. Secondly, are you open to co-production with other Asian countries in terms of your group?
I have companies actually in China. I have about 1,000 employees in China, in Beijing, Shanghai, and in Hefei. Yeah, so basically, I'm not only in Indonesia. I'm doing online games there, and I'm doing also e-commerce. Yeah. China market is big and keep growing very fast. In terms of the co-production, yes, it's possible. So we are open to cooperate with any group.
And what's the requirement for that, for the co-production?
For the co-production, the requirement is very flexible. We can do drama, we can do talent search together. In fact, I've done once Asian Idol actually. I think it was 6 years ago or 7 years ago, together between Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam, and one more country, I think Thailand, 5 or 6 countries. It was very interesting. Asian Idol, we do it live at the same time.
Yeah, but that was you did it. It wasn't a co-production per se. Fremantle and you probably.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But we can do joint production in drama, in animation. Yeah, we can do anything, which is good. Then we are open to discussion.
Just following on to Anil's question, we've seen in recent years in Indonesia some of the Indian talent star in shows. We've seen some of the Indian shows and sort of do quite well on some of the free-to-air in Indonesia. Do you see any potential there, or is that just one of those cyclical trends?
Happened. Mahabharata is doing so well in Indonesia. Ramasinta actually. So we can also produce such a thing. Basically, there are similarities between India and Indonesia in some of the culture. Yeah, that is very possible.
Sure.
Hi, Mancha Daswani from World Screen. We heard a lot this morning about big data and analytics, and I'm curious if the measurements that you're getting from within Indonesia are satisfactory to you in terms of measuring all of the viewing across all of the platforms.
We are preparing for that actually. So I'm now building a big data center within my unit called Innovation Center. Yeah, so just to prepare to make sure that we move fast enough to be in the digital space. Yeah, because I believe Indonesia is like mini China back in the late 90s. The only issue in Indonesia, our mid to low income group is still very large. It's about 70%. Once this group increase in welfare, then the market will rise very, very fast.
We had another question in the middle there.
Hello, my name is Dmitry. Short question. Are you open to consider international media projects for investment, as far as you are a politician and investor?
Possible, yes. Basically, on top of the three businesses in our group, media and then financial service and property, we do also have, we make financial investment also. So we take, small stake, 10%, 5%, 15%, 20%. Yeah, so we do that also. So we are open for that.
Hi, I'm a reporter from China, and I have two questions. One is that you mentioned that you have 1,000 employees in China, so I wonder what their jobs are, mainly for advertisements or techniques. And the other question is that I know that Tencent and Xiaomi has a lot of investments in the Southeast Asia. So I wonder how do you see the threats maybe from them, and how do you to face that? Thank you.
Is what do your employees in China do? And then with Tencent and Xiaomi and others investing in the region, do you think that's a threat or?
Basically, in China, we do online games and e-commerce. Our office in Beijing, Shanghai, and Hefei. Yeah, so I have about 1,000 employees. And Tencent used to be my partner on WeChat, but I gave up, I think, 3 years ago. At that time, I wasn't sure yet about digital business. But when I look at everybody has been growing very fast, I started to believe, basically, the future is going to be digital. Whether they are going to be a threat, of course, yeah. But we have to see it more positively. I mean, it can be also a complement. We can also team up with them, to build something together in the digital space. Yeah, because I know them very well also.
So time for one last question.
Hi, Ms. Harry. I just want to know, you have the bigger, the conglomerate. You have both, the producer company, also the basically distribution company and network. And you also buy the content also for your network also? And what kind of percentage in terms of the, buy and all produce yourself?
Of acquired versus self-produced? And do you actually buy content license?
In terms of content. Basically, almost 100% of all the local program that we broadcast on our FTA is produced in-house today. We have a very big production facility, very, very big, on more than 200,000 square meter production setup. And the composition is 80-20, 80% is basically local content on our FTA, 20% is foreign. And that's for the FTA. For the pay TV, basically we deal with many content provider. The majority is of course foreign, but we also provide our own in-house channel. We have about 22 in-house channel today, out of 160 something channel that we offer.
Okay, thank you.
Great, well please join me in thanking Pak Haritano.